Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week Wisdom and Legacy Building podcast. This is day 883 of our trek, and time for our Philosophy Friday series. Each Friday, we will ponder some of the basic truths and mysteries of life and how they can impact us in creating our living legacy. As we continue on this trek called life, sometimes we have questions about life. So our Friday trek is a time where we can Ask Gramps. Gramps will answer your questions you might like to ask your dad or granddad, but for whatever reason, this is not possible. No matter how old we are, I know that all of us would like the opportunity to ask Dad or Gramps questions about life in many areas. We will address such areas as finances, relationships, health and fitness, business and work, home repairs and renovations, seasons of life, and spiritual biblical questions. As your fellow sojourner and mentor in this trek that we call life, it is Gramps' goal to provide you with practical wisdom and advice about any area of life. It is critical that we receive a constant flow of questions, so please submit your questions to Guthrie at wisdom-trek.com, and Gramps will answer your questions on our Friday podcast. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. This week we will continue with part 2 of 3 of our question from last week, which was, Hey Gramps, listening to most news sources and even many preachers, it seems like the world is getting worse each year. But is this really the case? So today we'll answer the question about the state of the world and specifically look at technology. We take the technology and empowerment that we have today for granted. This week's answer will focus on the advances in technology that we have experienced over the past several decades. It permeates our entire life now. Technology in and of itself is amoral. As with any advancement, it can be used for good or bad, but certainly a lot of good has resulted with these advancements that we've had. And if you've had any type of major surgery recently, I am sure that you'll agree with this thought. Here are some highlights. Consider storage such as your hard drive on your computer or cloud storage. This is critical for medicine and genomics in the world today, and will transform healthcare and rapidly advance the cure of most diseases such as cancer. In 1981, 1 gigabyte of storage cost about $500,000. Today, it's 25 million times cheaper at 2 cents per gigabyte. How about computational power? In 1971, Intel put out its first computer chip, the Intel 4004. It had 2,300 transistors on it at $1 each. While Intel no longer actually tells us how many transistors are on their chips, one of the more recent ones, the Core i7, had 14.4 billion transistors at less than 1/millionth of a penny each. This represents a 330 billion-fold increase in price performance in the past 45 years. If you have a smartphone, which most people do, you have more computational power in your hand than all the governments had on the planet just 30 years ago. But that pales in comparison to what is coming next in quantum computing. This year, we expect to see quantum supremacy, the moment in time where the quantum computer can solve problems that no classical computer can do. Google recently unveiled what they have named as their bristlecone. This is a new quantum computer chip which has 72 quantum bits or qubits on it. By the time it gets to 300 qubits, which should be in the next decade, it can perform more calculations than there are atoms in the known universe. And because of this, we're about to see an extraordinary revolution in drug discovery. Pharmaceutical companies today are investing decades and billions of dollars in discovering molecules that affect us. But soon, quantum computers will allow us to model molecule interaction at a level like never before. Imagine an individual working on a quantum computer in the cloud who is able to look at the interaction between a particular molecule and all the 20,000 coded proteins in the human genome. With this, drug discovery will go off the charts. And it isn't happening 30 years from now, but within the next decade. While I realize that there are still many evil acts that are happening throughout the world, we need to look at the world from a balanced perspective. The world's current population is now over 7.5 billion people and is escalating rapidly. And even with this rapid increase in population, we have less poverty, less starvation, fewer diseases, fewer wars, and more freedom in our world today than at any point in recorded history. And through these technology advancements, we need to continually keep focused at the fact that God is in control. His kingdom and his church is growing throughout the world, and the gates of hell cannot stand against it. As Jesus told one of his closest friends, Peter, in Matthew chapter 16, verse 18, "Now I say that you are Peter," which means rock, "and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it." In part 3 of our answer to this question next week, we will focus on the exponential growth of communication brought on by the advancements in technology. This is becoming a driving force for reaching the entire world and its exploding population for God. As Jesus tells us in John 16, verse 33, "I have told you all of this that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world." Well, that wraps up part 2 of our answer to this question. If you have any questions that you would like answered, please email them to Guthrie@wisdom-trek.com, and Gramps will answer them on our Friday podcast with wisdom and philosophy that Gramps has gained over the many years of experience and study. I know that you'll find these insights interesting, practical, and profitable in living a rich and satisfying life. Our next trek is Meditation Monday, where we will help you to reflect on those most important areas of life. So encourage your friends and family to join us and then come along with us on Monday for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 882 daily treks or read the associated journals, they are available at wisdom-trek.com. I encourage you to subscribe to Apple Podcasts or Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward. Enjoy your journey and then create a great day every day. See you on Monday.